So I just cut that channel for the wires right there, and I use an 1/8 inch diameter bit, but it has a 1/4 inch shank. So in order to get the shank not to touch anything, I gotta stay, you know, a full 1/8 inch away from any sidewalls. So as you can see on this side here, it doesn't go all the way to the end. This side over here, same thing. So I'm going to have to finish it just with chisels. You can see I'm off center to the bottom, so I'm already leaving room for the pickup mounting screws. So when I when I finish it off, I'm going to taper those downwards to keep the channel even farther away from where the mounting screws got to go. So I'm gonna do that by hand. I couldn't really show much of me finishing that up right there because I'm trying to have the camera close and it's in my way and I can't see what I'm doing. So I could have either screwed it up because the camera was in the way and let you see me screw it up, or I could just do it right, and the byproduct of me doing it right is you missed the video. So sorry, you guys lost the video, but we got this. So this wire virtually disappears. You probably thought it was just a channel, but if you look here, right there, that's actually a little 4-wire thing. Fits right in there. Stays out of the way of where the screws are. It's gonna be a little close, you know, to tuck those in good. But there's that. Fan of taking the output jack and just getting it where it smooths in like here, instead of using like a, you know, a plate like, you know, the Strats use. You know, I really don't like putting a metal plate on the edge of the guitar. Just none of that ever looks good. I always like the barrel type one so you can do a cleaner look. And I've done this in the past, you know, like this. It looks great, but I just wanted to take it to the next level. So I got this test piece here. So what I'm gonna do, I think I mentioned this kind of before, is I glued a piece on here, I cut this front at a 30-degree angle. And the thickness of this doesn't matter as long as it's thicker than I need. Then when I drill this in, half of the jack, you know, will be above and half will be below, and then I'll shape this, you know, where it goes round, tapers off back that way, and blends in. So it'll stick out and in half and half, or, you know, whatever the percentage ends up being. I think it's going to be a cool look like that, but to figure out where it goes into the control cavity, I'm doing a test piece. I figured out an approximate end of where, to figure out the offset from where the cavity is to here. So I'm going to cut this off, see how it looks, and then figure out, you know, I got to make this piece and glue it to the actual guitar and do a real one. So I laid out some lines on here based on my test piece for where the offset of exactly where this piece has to start that I'm adding to the top. So the next decision here, and I've got a lot of ideas, surprise, surprise. The obvious thing, glue a piece of wenge to that, cut it, shape it, blends in, you still get your 3D effect. It'd look great. But I've got a lot of cutoffs to work with. So I could take something like this, you know, make it thinner. I could have the wenge, touching wenge, switches into the Padauk, and then ultimately to the Sapelli. And then it gets tapered, you know, round this way and blended in and tapered that way. Most of the Sapelli would be gone. You get a little on the tip. There's a little bit on here. So what you see is, you know, be a good proportion. I can cut it down, put it that way, get the same effect in a different order. And then I was thinking, I've got cutoffs like this. Ultimately, I need, you know, I was going to do 1/2 inch, but it only needs to be that thick in the back. It's going to get tapered this way anyway. I can get the stripes in there. And I've got pieces like here from farther back on the neck. If you look, the width of the stripes is wider on this piece than that piece. This is closer to the head. This is closer to the body. So I can figure what would work the best. I'm kind of really liking this. Or this one in this orientation, but when I cut it, then sand it slightly crooked. So those lines are where the layers show up on one side compared to the other is stepped. I just don't want that to look like a mistake. You know, I'm thinking of purposely making it crooked and it would look like I just didn't quite nail it. So I gotta pick between one of those. I didn't show you transferring these lines over. I got video of every time I was flipping things back and forth and coming up with little micro adjustments. I'd have so many videos in the cloud, it'd be raining at your house. So I gotta make a decision, glue something on here. As of right now, that's gonna be the #1 choice. But I think I'm just gonna sit here and look at it for like 20 minutes and then glue something up. So you see the decision that I made here. I went with the stripes one. I think you see a lot, you know, or not a lot, but I mean, it's definitely a feature that's going on in the front, so keep that theme going. I marked out where it's gonna go, but the pencil on wenge, it's pretty hard to see. So the other issue, I have no way of really putting pins in here to hold it in place to not slide around. So visually, the tape will make it easier to line up. Plus, I added a couple layers, so it can't move too far. It's not gonna wanna slide, you know, when I'm clamping. So once I'm in there, just fun. As long as I'm careful enough, get the first part of pressure, it's not gonna slide over, I think. That's just what I thought of right now, so that's what I'm gonna go with. Obviously this size piece, I'm just gonna use the finger method. I've already done a mock-up. So I got my clamps ready. So, here we go. Okay, so you might have noticed in there that I glued right over, that would be the tone knob hole. It's not gonna be an issue, I just didn't want to glue a smaller piece to here. So once I actually drill the hole and shape it, you're not gonna see all 9 pieces of wood right there. I mean, I'm gonna be adding like just 5 pieces of wood only. It's all you're gonna see on this feature is an extra 5 pieces. So it'll be like from the Padauk to the Padauk, like even the wenge outside of those will probably most likely be completely gone by the time it's shaped. Definitely the outside Sapellis will be gone. You will have the Sapelli center stripe, obviously 2 wenges and going into Padauk, and that's, I mean, once it's blended, we'll see, but it will not interfere with that. By the time you get to this side, it'll be down to 0 way before that anyway. It's probably only gonna go this far. So I just needed a chunk to do the job. And then take 80% of that away, probably, or more. So that's that. Been at this for a little while here. It's about midnight right now. Not my regular type of work to do. I mean, I don't know whose type of work is this right here. That's just like a bizarre idea in my head that just gotta make it happen. It's gonna get a lot smaller than that still. Right now it looks like a big eyesore on the thing, but it's starting to get blended in. So, I mean, I know it's gonna work. Getting closer on this, you can see it's a lot smaller. If you remember when I was gluing the piece up, it actually covered half of this hole. So all of that is basically like whittled away. I think any of you guys that are like really good with chisels will probably laugh at how long this is taking me, but it's going along good, it's going smooth. My hole wasn't exactly centered with the direction of the stripes, say. So I want to get this smaller, get this the sapelli off of it. Keeping this layer of Wenge in there would be cool. And then I got to oval this out a little bit this way. But if I can get the top of it to be symmetrical to the plane of the lines, would be more important than having this centered in the hole. So if I oval it and it's offset, you can see this less than this. One of them has to be less than perfect. So when you see more, I want to have the most perfect. So I'm gonna keep going. I just figured show you how this is going. It's gonna be kick-ass. You can see there, height-wise, you know, it's pretty subtle. That's a pretty cool angle right there. Actually, looking at the camera, I can see there still is a little sapelli on that side. I'm gonna eliminate that. The other side blends in a lot better. Yeah, cool. All right, so I had a little bit of a order of operation error here. I started bringing this down yesterday. Today, when I got out here, you know, started with that. And one thing I was gonna do when I had more material was open the hole up a little bit. I originally did it for 5/8, but I knew I was gonna have to go deeper, and that was for the width of the actual flange on the jet. But you want this little rubber washer on here, and that's actually 11/16, not 5/8. So right now, if I put it in, you know, you see the edge of it. It doesn't actually countersink into the hole, which would be just dumb. So, gotta open this up a bit. So I think if I start down, I can scoop into it and do it. I really only get one chance at it. But regular wood bit probably would be a little bit easier to control doing that, but I have nothing over 1/2 inch. Spade bit, Not for me on this one. I will blow it apart. So the Forstner bit, once it's started, is going to be the cleanest way anyway. So I think it's that or buy a bit. But I think this will be cleaner as long as I'm careful. If I can get it started right, this will be the bit to use. So I guess that's what I tried. Well, wish me luck. Ah, shit. Forgot to tighten the clamp. Oh, the wood's in place. Since it's a little off center, I'm gonna try to move it that way as well. Just a bit. Huh. Okay. Still gotta get deeper. Bit all over the place today. But I'm gonna go back for the second knob. So in order to do the knob, I take my blank, I gotta drill a hole, thread it onto a single-sided mandrel that I could throw on the lathe and do it. So to make them both a little different, I guess different would have to be both. Couldn't only make one different. So I cut a little bit of an angle here, just a couple degrees, just so I could take those lines, pivot them over, and then I'll offset from here, and then it'll just get those sideways. The line on the top won't line up at the center. It'll just automatically tilt it. Just give it a little extra design feature. See how that looks. Also, the other one, based on the set screws that I found, I'm gonna have to modify the set screw and make it a slight bit shorter. So I'm gonna make this one overall diameter a little bit bigger than the other one. I've done guitars in the past where I had a bigger volume knob and a smaller tone knob, and it looks cool to have that offset. It's gonna be a little bit less of an offset, so I'm gonna go a little bit bigger so I don't have to modify the set screw because I got an idea, but it's gonna be whatever. What can you do? Wrap up this episode 8, Mocking a Mockingbird. So it's kind of all over the place, and in certain ways it seems like I didn't get anything major done, you know? I mean, I got the channel for the wires, but needed to be done. It's super clean. They stayed way tucked up out of the way. That was great, but no big deal. You know, I got the other cover, so now I have, you know, both covers. That one, you know, has that like kind of 50-50 on the Paduke. Here, just that subtle pop in there, but I've got my thumb grabs on the body and on these. There's a line of sight, so if they happen to move more than I think they're gonna, I don't think it's gonna happen, but you can get a little screwdriver and get a shot right in there. And you can do it cleanly. I don't think that's necessary. I don't think it's gonna happen, but if it does, the solution's built in. So either way, that's no big deal. You know, I did a second knob, which sounds like no big deal, but by the time you're done, I mean, it's time. They look really good, though. The two different sizes. Whoops, it's backwards. Going to go there, tone's gonna go there. So big in the front, small in the back. I gotta modify the set screw on the one, but the output jack looks like such a small thing on there, but you know, it's such a big feature. as I was doing that, I started sanding down around these a little bit also, besides the up, so you got some different things. So I'm gonna contour in the knobs, just dish them out just slightly, similar to what I did on the other guitar I showed you earlier when I was talking about the output, but less dish than that, more just a little bigger than the knobs. And like this one will get dished out wider than this one, but it's bigger. So I do like an uneven sanding job that's uneven by the exact right amount at the exact right spot. That type of uneven. So, what else? I ate some chicken. Saw that. And a little bit on the neck. I kind of, smooth that out as I'm going. It's going to be a lot easier once this is out of the way and it was folded better. That's fine. Just a little at a time. Filling time, I didn't know what to do at the time, so I started doing that. So, I think that wraps up this one. It's Mockingbird, episode 8.